thought-provoking. Thank you.
To invite Dolak here to Lord Rana, sir, could you kindly come up and
Lord Delakia, Baroness Pressure, Lady Delakia, distinguished guests, friends, ladies and gentlemen. You have seen the short introduction of Shiv Khera already, and you'll know more about it by the time we finish this evening. I have known Shiv Khera for nearly 5-6 years. We meet frequently, and every time I meet with him, I come out after the meeting with very many ideas. He is full of positive ideas. So we are lucky to have him at Nehru Center in London. Probably this is the first event that he's holding in England, but this is first one. Hopefully we'll persuade him to come more regularly and give talk on the subject of his choice. He has, as you were told on the short TV presentation, changed the life of millions of people and sold, 7.5 million books. He is a phenomenon. And what is more important, many people, business leaders, speakers, motivational speakers, scholars, usually just talk how to succeed in financial terms. But he is also promoting the value system, that it's not just money alone. You have to succeed and you can succeed, but don't lose focus of value systems in the society. So it's a lot to hear from him. My role is just to say a word of welcome to all of you, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the evening and rest of the speeches. Thank you.
thank you, sir. Could I invite Lord Dholakia, sir, to kindly say a few words, sir? Thank you, sir.
Shiv Khera, distinguished guests, my colleagues from the House of Lords, and at least I can identify some of the faces that I see. My other colleague, C.B. Patel, from the Asian Voice and Gujarat Samachar, and I see my other friend, Ravi Ranger, in the audience. So I seem to be in the right company at the moment. Can I, first of all, say how delighted I am that such a publication is now available in the United Kingdom, a publication whose contributor, Shiv Khera, ought to be recognized not only by the number of copies that has been bought about his particular book, but much more than that, the extent to which he's able to motivate people, motivate his audience. And I think motivation is so important because there is nobody to lead you up or to explain to you what is open to you. You may sometimes find completely lost. What I saw when I read the book is the inspiration that came from there. When I look at this particular slogan, yes, you can make it, was the type of slogan, if you remember, during the time, the campaign of President Obama, before he was a president. Yes, we can make it, was his particular slogan. And he did. And I think many of us in our lives can look back about the type of mentors whose advice we have followed. In many cases, we are in this country, not by any privilege, but sheer hard work that we came here to make our contribution. There are people who have made economically a very sound contribution to this country. There are people, my colleagues, Usha Prashar, I'm told you are here, Usha. Yes, the contribution she makes politically in social field. These are the people who are able to give the guidance, but more important than that, a leadership role to many of the people who see their career and wish to follow. I came to United Kingdom in 1956. When I came in, I landed at Tilbury Docks, and early in the morning, looking out of the porthole of my ship, I saw the most depressing sight ever, the dingy black buildings of London, and never had any hope of making any progress other than going for my education at the Brighton Technical College. In the course of my involvement in Brighton, one of the exciting things that I learned, that if you want to get somewhere, you've got to identify yourself with the country in which you are living and the contribution you can make. What fascinated me about the most wonderful seaside entertainment and the profile of Brighton was that the back street of Brighton was covered with people who were desperate to try and build that particular future, but not a hope in hell for many of them who are within what you call the circle of deprivation, going round and round in circle and not getting anywhere. This gave me the inspiration of saying, why don't we make changes so that people have a better life? And I then decided to put up as the first Liberal candidate on the Brighton Council. That's an interesting experience for the simple reason that the only person who had fought a council election before I did was Krishna Menon, who became India's foreign minister and one of the most respected Indian politicians in the world. When I stood up for election, there was a sheer massive publicity about the appointment, about the election of a person who is from, not necessarily from this community, but who came from abroad, a person from India. And I found it very fascinating, but that resulted in massive amount of sheer hatred that came through from some of the indigenous people. My posters for my elections were slashed. More important than that, the car that I was driving, the tires were slashed. In the letterboxes, get all the filth and dirt that was being thrown at you. And when I was elected on the Brighton Council, I remember I required police protection because they had threatened to kill me if they saw me in the council chamber. For the first 6 months, this continued. But what I found very inspiring was some of the people in Brighton who were able to move their particular life in a very positive direction. And one such person stands out in my mind, and I pay him a tribute. That was Louis Cohen, who was the mayor of Brighton. I was talking to him, and I said, I don't know what I'm doing in this country. I might as well go back to my country, that was Tanzania, and build my life over there. And he said, no, you will do no such thing. What I want you to do is to stand together, and we will fight the National Front. And we did, and ultimately won that particular battle. I think it's important to be able to recognize that there are other people who can lead you, who can guide you, and to follow their advice actually takes you in a better sphere of life than you are able to do yourself. One other example I want to give you is quite simply, we are not in a country simply to make money. That may be okay for many people, but that doesn't necessarily bring you what you want to achieve in life. I always use this analogy by saying to people, when you die, nobody's going to ask you how much money will be left in the bank. What did you do with the money that you have, what money that you had? And I think one of the things we got to remember is the contribution that we need to make in the country in which we are living. And I believe that many of us in the United Kingdom are able to do that. If you look at the success of the Indian community in the United Kingdom, you simply have to look at the prison population. 25 to 30% of prison population in the United Kingdom is from the black community. 25% of women in British prisons are black women. But if you look at the position of the Indian community, you find less than 100 people in British prisons today. That shows you the extent to which our culture, our values has given us the guidance. But more important than that, those leaders within the community who have been able to make that contribution, which has directed us towards better things in life. So here I am on a learning exercise again, to learn from Shiv Khera about the type of success we can all achieve in life, but success which also brings with us the value that we attach to our culture, our beliefs, and more important to our country from where we come from. So Shiv, lots of good lucks to you, a lot of good wishes to you, and I hope you can now part with us with some of your knowledge, which will take us onto a different plane. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Indeed grateful to you. Thank you, sir. Indeed privileged, sir. Thank you, sir. Folks, Lord Rana said to me that the chief guest of tonight is Lord Dholakia, because he happens to be my elder brother. By default, sir, you happen to be my elder brother also now, and probably everybody else's elder brother here. Thank you, sir, indeed, and gracious of you. And I do want to thank you for gracing the occasion. Along with you, Baroness Parashar is here, and of course, our friend Remy Ranger and all the dignitaries here. Good evening to all of you. Could I make you a folded hands request? Kindly switch off your mobile, please. Folks, let me ask you, if I keep my mobile on, and if I keep fiddling with my mobile every 10 minutes, would it be courteous to you people? Hello? Okay, can we practice courtesy both sides, please? Kindly switch off, please. Oh, go ahead. That's all right. Go ahead. Yeah. Put it on YouTube. All right. All right, folks. Hearing Lord Dholakia right now, I think each one of us can pretty much relate to it. What a story. He said, I landed at the docks and I went through the kind of fight, eventually won. Folks, that is a book by itself. And he won. And that is a book by itself. In my book, I've written in the last chapter, somebody said, well, if you want to leave a legacy in life, either do something worth writing or write something worth doing. Are you with me? Either do something worth writing or write something worth doing. Folks, I have written something worth doing, and people like him have done something worth writing. Are you with me? Sir, indeed honored. Thank you, sir. I've been into corporate training for the last 30 years. And folks, when I go in and I share with the owners, and I tell them that, look, what I'm doing in your corporation today is repair work. This is called repair work. But if you prepare them, you won't have to repair them. And where do you prepare them? You prepare them in schools and colleges. Yes, no. That is where you prepare them. And sadly, today, this is where globally I feel we have failed in our education system all over the world. Now, this book that I wrote in, Mercedes is a client of ours, and I saw a message going by the global head of Mercedes saying, in the next 10 to 15 years, approximately 50% of jobs will be lost, eliminated, or reduced to what? Automation, robotics, artificial intelligence. Somewhere it will happen. And with the amount of information we get today in one day, we never got this much information in 100 years. Now, obviously, whenever you see any success story, there are people behind it, aren't there? Yes, no? Okay. And if there are people behind it, how many agree that people are our greatest assets? Please raise your hand. Okay, incorrect answer. Folks, people are not assets. Only good people are assets. Rest are all liabilities. Are you with me? Go check it out anywhere in the world. Only good people are assets. Rest are all liabilities. And anywhere in the world, goodness must be cultivated, evil happens. This is true all over the world. This is just like a farmer. If they want to have a good garden, they must consciously plant good seeds of good flowers and good fruits. But weeds, you don't have to plant, they keep coming. Now, a farmer has a choice after he has planted seeds of fruits and flowers. There's a whole army of insects and pesticides and insects and weeds ready to destroy the hard work. Now, the farmer has a choice. Either get destroyed or fight and destroy the insects and the weeds and then prosper and survive. True? Hello? There is a fight. Sir, Dan, just raise it up, please. Volume slightly, then slightly higher. Okay. See, the farmer has a choice to fight or get destroyed. Folks, the fight must go on. It has to go on. This is true nature. We have a medical doctor right here. In our body, we have white cells and red cells. What is the function of the white cell, sir? It keeps fighting infection. Because if it doesn't, the infection will the infection will come in and it'll destroy us. So there is a constant fight within us. Now, if we are into a fight, folks, we are not here just to fight, but we must win. We must win. And in order to win, while I was writing this book, I said we must have 5 kinds of strengths in life. If we don't have them, we are gone. What are the 5 strengths? Number 1, we must be physically strong. True? Hello? We must be physically strong. Folks, physical strength gives us stamina, sustenance. It gives us energy to move on. It gives us sustenance. Folks, 1 is physical strength. Second strength that we need is, folks, financial strength. Are you with me? Now, by financial strength, I mean we need money, we need bank balances. Now, there are many people I have heard, even religious preachers on the television, saying money is not important. Folks, I have written in my book, people who say money is not important, either they are stupid or they are billionaires. Are you with me? Now, how can money not be important? I didn't say money is the most important thing. And many times people say money cannot get you happiness. Well, folks, poverty doesn't get you happiness either. And if I have to be unhappy, I'd rather be unhappy with money than without money. And besides, folks, I learned one thing in my life, that money in good hands always does good for society, and money in evil hands always does evil to society. Yes, no. And I feel very strongly that it is the moral obligation of every ethical person to be a millionaire and a billionaire, because money in good hands does good, money in evil hands always does evil. Now tell me, do we need a PhD to understand this? Do we need an MBA to understand this? You know the sad part? After doing PhD, MBA, they still don't understand this. Bottom line, we need financial strength. And third strength we need is we need mental strength. We need mental strength. Folks, mental strength is what gives us the willpower to stay on track when we want to get off track. It is mental strength, which helps us fight adversity. Folks, go check out all over the world. Look at the kind of story that you heard from Lord Dholakia. What he fought adversity, how he fought, he came back. Folks, let me ask you, who was the greatest legend in martial art in history? Who? Bruce Lee. How many of you are aware that Bruce Lee's one leg was shorter than the other leg by 1 inch? Folks, I didn't know it till I wrote in my book. 1 inch shorter than the other, 1 inch. 1 mm, 2 mm, 3 mm, 4 mm can disalign a person 1 inch. And Bruce Lee, his eyesight was -10. -10. Folks, he could not see his opponent without lenses. But you see, he used to practice 5,000 punches per day for decades. And Bruce Lee said one thing. He said, I am not afraid of someone who knows 10,000 ways how to kick. He says, I'm afraid of a person who knows only one way to kick, but he has practiced that one way 10,000 times. That is the dangerous one. Man, you tell me, without mental strength, how can a person with 1 inch shorter than the other become a legend? Has to have mental strength. Are you with me? See, when you want to quit and you don't quit, I bet he wanted to quit, but he didn't. Remy Ranger wanted to quit, but you didn't quit. We all had similar things. We've done it. Folks, each one of you can write a book. You have inspiration tremendously here. Because most of us came to this country with nothing in our pockets. Each one has a success story right behind. So we have to have what? Physical strength, financial strength, mental strength, and the fourth strength we need is, folks, emotional strength. What is emotional strength? Folks, emotional strength is what brings balance to a person. Without emotional strength, a person is whimsical. They get up in the morning with one mood, and they have become unpredictable. Moody people. One person is all sugar and honey to you today, and the same person out to catch your throat tomorrow. Same person. You see, a person who lacks emotional strength, you can never trust them. You can never trust them. They are unpredictable people. And folks, it is emotional strength that helps us build relationships in life. Yes, no. Hello? It is emotional strength. And folks, without emotional strength, and let me ask you, if a person does not have good relationships in life, they are emotionally bankrupt. Are you with me? They are emotionally bankrupt. What kind of life is that? It is nothing. Folks, one is physical strength, financial strength, mental strength, emotional strength, and folks, number 5 strength we need is spiritual strength. We need spiritual strength. What is spiritual strength? Folks, spiritual strength is what is our moral compass in life. It keeps us on track, morally strong. Folks, I was addressing a World Congress of the Cardiologists. There were 1,000 cardiologists from all over the world, and they asked me to address, and the topic was science and spirituality. I said, you people are scientists, and I'm not wearing the saffron either, so what kind of a topic is this? But anyway, bottom line is, I did some research, and I said, what is spirituality? How do you define the word spirituality? And the dictionary meaning says, anything that lifts your spirit is spiritual. Anything that makes you feel good. Folks, you hear parents telling their kids today, to the little kids, do what feels good, do what feels good, do what feels good. We hear that. But you know something? We come from the old school, and I take the liberty, I'm younger to him, we come from the old school, and our parents taught us one thing. Feeling good is a natural outcome of doing good. Are you with me? Feeling good is a natural outcome of doing good. You do good, you feel good. And how can you feel good when you don't do good? You don't, you can't. And doing good is natural outcome of being good. You are good, you do good, you do good, you feel good. Man, what an equation. And there, when I was addressing the cardiologist, I did some homework and I asked them, what is the third highest cause of death in the United States? Can anybody tell? Medical doctors' negligence. Folks, I'm on record. Medical doctors' negligence, medical practitioners' negligence, third highest cause of death. Means what? Casual attitude in transfer of patients to the other doctors. They're casual. And I said, doctors, remember, casual attitude always leads to casualty. Are you with me? Casual attitude leads to casualty. Folks, we're talking of 5 strengths. And when we talk of spirituality, what is spirituality? I mention in my book, you have heard of making money. Anything that lifts the spirit is spiritual, which is based on, our parents said one thing, whenever we do something positive in life, even if no one is watching, we rise a little bit in our own eyes. Our spirits are lifted. And whenever we do something wrong in life, lying, stealing, cheating, even if no one is watching, we fall down a little bit in our spirits go down. Means what? A business entrepreneur who is honest is spiritual. Husband, wife, if they're honest, practicing fidelity, they're spiritual. Are you with me? That's it. Folks, I just recently wrote an article, sent to New York Times for publication, which they didn't publish, and they sent back without publishing saying, please condense. So I'm condensing. And because with the speed of change, the way things are happening, products are getting obsolete the day they're getting launched. Are you with me, folks? And knowledge is getting obsolete within 2 to 3 years. See, folks, look at engineering graduates. By the time they get to the 4th year, what they learned in the 1st year became obsolete. Medical graduates, by the time they get to the 4th and the 5th year, what they learned in the 1st year became obsolete. So literally, it has become a cliche. The only constant is change. So one day, I was penning down an article looking at this. The only constant is change. And I said, boy, are we in deep trouble? Or we have a great opportunity. So I started penning down, is there anything else in this world that is constant? So I wrote in that there are three other things that are constant in life. Three other things. And they are, I wrote in, going into the future, the only people who will succeed in life are those who master three skills that are constant. They have never changed. They will never change. What are the three skills, folks? One, people skills. Two, persuasion skills. Three, prioritizing skills. Folks, they haven't changed. Our parents, their parents, their parents, their parents, they have never changed. They will never change. So why not master that doesn't change? So why did I say people skills? Folks, go check out all over the world. We don't have business problems anywhere. We have people problems. And when we take care of our people problems, most of our business problems are automatically resolved. Yes, no. They are automatically resolved. And two, all through history, we are hired for our skills, but we are fired for our behavior. Yes, no. That is true. Anywhere in the world. And three, you notice one thing, folks. The lower a person is in life, 90% of the time goes in technical skills, less than 10% people skills. And higher we go up in life, guess what happens? It just reverses. Means what? Folks, technology and technicians we can always buy with money. But the wealthiest person in the world must build and create relationships. Yes, no. See, in crude language, you might say, you can buy a dog, but you cannot make them wag the tail. Are you with me? That's right. Folks, I recall January 1973, we had coal mines in India, close to 1,000 people working. I didn't create them, I inherited them. And the mines got nationalized, and we came on the street, Main Street. Folks, some families had money. Our family did not. My father had died when I was just about in college. We were left with the liabilities and the assets were gone. I tried my hands on 3 businesses with no money and I failed in all. Finally, November 13, 1975, I left India, rented a 1-bedroom apartment. We were sleeping on the floor. We had no furniture. And I started life with a bucket in my hand, washing cars door to door. Right about that time, I saw an ad in the newspaper. You want to make some extra money, do the door-to-door demos for vacuum cleaners. Folks, have you seen those people? Yes, no. Dan, slightly higher. Dan, slightly higher, please. Yeah. I responded to the ad. There were a couple of hundred people. They gave us a pep talk, and they said, go do the demo. And every demo you do, you get paid $5. Folks, I was genuinely naive. I actually believed we only had to do the demo and not to sell. So I used to go to an apartment building, knock a door. When the lady or the man used to open, I used to say, sir, you don't have to buy the vacuum cleaner. All that you got to do is take a demo and I'll get paid $5. So some people took pity, let me come in. Some people kicked me out and some people slammed the door. And that was fine. One day, I was doing a demo in an Indian family's home. And the man and woman were sitting on the sofa and I was on the floor. So this man, instead of looking at the vacuum cleaner, he kept looking at me all the time. So I asked him, sir, did I do something wrong? He said, no. I said, why do you look at me this way, sir? He asked me, Shiv, have you ever sold life insurance? I said, man, what kind of question is this? I'm demoing vacuum cleaners here. I said, no, I have never sold life insurance, and besides, I never will. Because I remember back home in India, that agent, that pest, who used to come to my home would not leave my life for 3 hours till I signed the application. No wonder they call them life insurance agents, because they don't live your life. I said, I will never be that pest in my life. He said, no, Shiv, it doesn't work that way here. Look at me, I'm a life insurance agent. Look at my lifestyle, I drive a Lincoln. Folks, later on I came to know he was working for MetLife. And they had a recruitment drive going on. If you recruited a new salesperson, you would get a Samsonite briefcase. So I was there. Well, I finished the demo and I said, thank you, but no thank you. But you see, when you cannot go straight, you go the other way around. We were living in the same building, and somehow his wife became friendly with my wife and convinced her that selling life insurance was the right thing to do. And my wife also knew we had to do something different. We couldn't go through life washing cars. I had a family to support, and I had a little daughter. And my wife also knew my failure record in life was pretty good. Even in school, I wasn't the brightest kid. In my 8th grade, out of 6 or 7 subjects, I failed in all, except one. So my principal called me and said, Shiv, you're paying too much attention on one subject. Folks, out of 28 kids, I was number 27 because the 28th was absent. No kidding. My principal used to call my parents and tell them, get this kid out of the school. He's one kid who's going to bring the average of the school. I was bringing the average down. I told my wife, I said, I'm not selling life insurance. She said, Shiv, to sell life insurance, you got to take an exam. Why don't you take the exam? And if you pass, you have a choice right now. You have no choice. I said, all right, I'll take the exam, but I won't sell. Folks, I took the exam. And guess what? I passed. And this person who got all this started, he took me to his office, introduced me to his district manager, was a very sharp elderly man by the name of Joe Bonney. As I walked in, he congratulated me, and he said, Shiv, I'll make you an offer, and I'll give you time to think. He said, if you become an agent right now, I will give you a draw of $150 a week. And he says, you have time to decide before I withdraw the offer. He said, you got 30 seconds. I said, Joe, you said you'll give me time to think. He said, you have 20 left. I said, I'll take it. And folks, now I became a life insurance agent, which I never in my life ever wanted to be. They gave me the book, they gave me a little training, and they said, boy, go sell. And folks, for the next 3 months, I went out selling. I put in 100%. Why 100%? I put in 200%. We all can tell when we've done our best. We all can tell when we've not done our best. I can look at the mirror and say, I did my best. And folks, guess what? I broke the company's, say it one more time. I broke the company's record. You're not impressed, are you, sir? Oh, you are impressed. Well, wait till you find which record I broke. Well, how many sales I made? Almost none. So my manager called me right back. And he said, I've been in this life insurance business 35 years. And he said, I've seen some slow starts in my life. I've never seen one like you. What he said after that, I'm not going to repeat because this is being recorded. But then he said, don't come back tomorrow. It's okay, you're fired. I said, Joe, wait a minute. Before you fire me, at least hear me out. I said, I'm not an educated person. I'm not a doctor, engineer, attorney, accountant. I'm a BCom 3rd division, failed my 10th. That's my academics. And I said, I got a handicap. How do you expect performance out of me? Folks, that day, 42 years ago, somebody spoke very harshly to me, and I'm glad he did. And later on, I realized it was not anger, it was concern. 43 somewhere. And he said to me that day, he said, "You shut up and listen to me." He didn't say this politely. He said, "You shut up and listen to me." He said, "You don't have a handicap, you have a bad attitude." And he said, "It is people like you who not only ruin their own lives, but they also ruin their family's life too." And he said, "Do you know who has a handicap in life?" He said, "The doctor, engineer, attorney, accountant, they all have handicaps." I said, "Boy, never heard that one. How do they have handicaps?" He said, "Go check out all over the world. Generally true. They all have chosen their field. They're stuck. Generally true." He said, "You haven't chosen your field. Don't you see the world is open to you?" I said, "Joe, I never thought from that point of view." He said, "Now that you're fired," he said, "you got all the time to think." He said, "Leave my office." Folks, I left his office that day, almost 43 years ago. That evening, I had an appointment about 30 miles away because all our appointments were made 1 week in advance. And I had a choice. Give me some more water. I had a choice to keep the appointment or not. I knew I had no job next day, and I might not get paid for it anyway, but I decided to keep that appointment that night. While I was driving, 6:30, folks, having failed one after the other in my life, that night I was feeling so depressed. I don't know what happened to me. I just burst out into crying. I kept crying, kept praying. I couldn't understand how could an adult not know how to earn a living. I had a family to support, didn't know how to do it. I had a little daughter. I kept crying, kept driving, kept praying. That night, that 30 miles distance seemed like 30 years. It's a lot easier to talk about it tonight. It was not easy that night. Finally, I reached my appointment. It was 7. I got a handle on myself, went up, started selling. By the time the man looked at his watch, it was 11:30 at night. I got in at 7. No wonder they call life insurance agent pests. He says to me, "Do you realize what time it is?" It's a polite way of saying get out. And he said, "I have to go to work tomorrow morning." I said, "I'm sure you do, sir." But somehow that night I wasn't moving. He looked at me, I looked back at him. I don't know what got into this person's mind around 11:30. He asked me, "What does it take to get rid of you right now?" I thought he was asking me the rates. I opened the book back again, looked at his age, looked at the rate, looked at the factor, multiplied with insurance, and I said, "Sir, that'll be $27.58. He said, "What?" I said, $27.58. He looked at me disgustingly. And he says, "If it was $27.58, why didn't you tell me 4.5 hours ago?" He wrote me a check and he says, "Take this and get out before I change my mind." Folks, that was one of my first sales. I came home midnight. Next morning, I went to my office. I went to my manager and I said, "Joe, I got an application today. It is a small one, but it is a bound one with a check, because without a check has no meaning." And I said, "Joe, will you let me stay?" I said, "If you fire me today, I don't know where to go. And the only place I know where to go is go back to washing cars." And I said, "I don't want to do that anymore." And I said, "Joe, I make one commitment to you. I won't let you down because of my effort, but please withdraw the papers." He looked at me and he said, "Shiv, that's not your small one." He said, "That's your big one. And he said, I'll let you stay here only if you make a commitment not to me, but to yourself. Folks, that day I made a commitment. And that was one of the turning points in my life. And let me ask you, don't we all have some turning points? Yes, no. And that day he withdrew the papers. And folks, that year I went ahead, sold close to $1 million. Next year, 3 million. Year after, 5 million. I moved on to the US, got into 3 businesses. I bought out a company out of California, 1984. Started the New Jersey operation with no clients, and I sold my company with close to 500 clients for a decent sum. Now, why do I share my life with you, folks? For a few reasons. One, the last 45 years have not been that easy. You know what? People look at you where you are today, and you know what they say? Must be lucky. Must be at the right place at the right time. Folks, I have given an extension to this sentence. In my book, You Can Achieve More. Folks, this is an incomplete sentence when people say, must be at the right place at the right time. Folks, you got to be the right person at the right place at the right time. If you are not the right person, you could be at the right place at the right time and do nothing. Are you with me? Folks, this little thing, there's a header at the back in the book says, if you want to stand out, you need to do something outstanding. And it explains in the book, many times people say, I want to have an extraordinary income. I want to be I have to have extraordinary life. I want to have extraordinary success. You know something they forget to ask? Are you an extraordinary person? Do you have extraordinary commitments in life? Do you have extraordinary enthusiasm in life? Do you have extraordinary integrity in life? Do you have extraordinary relationships with people in life? Are you willing to work extraordinarily hard in life? If you are not willing to do all these things, you can never get anything extraordinary in life. Are you with me? We have to be something before we can get anything, which says we need to change mentality. We need to change mentality to change reality. If you want to change reality, you need to change mentality. Are you with me? There is no other way. Sorry, how much time do we have? Because okay. See, folks,